Hi, everybody. Let's start with our opening prayer, and then off we go. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Tanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay. Monica saying, hi Sky, could you please check my teeth and which emotions I need to work on? I'm looking for a biological dentist in my country, but no luck so far. It seems I'm willing to travel for my teeth. Yeah, when it comes to health, it's worth it. You're completely correct. Take Archangel Raphael with you because he's the Archangel of travel. The emotions around teeth are normally helplessness and fear of making decisions. It normally comes from learned helplessness and you really struggling with knowing who you are. So when you come from a family where there's a lot of emotional immaturity or a lot of emotional abuse, you don't know who you are. And then if you don't know who you are, it's very hard to make decisions. It's very hard to make choices, and other people end up making your decisions and choices for you, and you end up overly relying on them to regulate your emotions. And that's what codependency is. It's relying on people outside of you to regulate your feelings because you can no longer regulate your own. And that can be because of childhood trauma or an adult a toxic relationship. But it's the loss of the capacity to regulate your own nervous system. It's temporary if you have healthy coping mechanisms, but permanent if you are lodged in a toxic environment, right? Because then your nervous system just can't properly regulate, and that's what creates long-term chronic anxiety, chronic depression, because you've got no place to rest. It also creates chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, things like that. So yeah, it's important for you. That this is quite interesting, isn't it? Because you're going to have to travel. It's important for you to get away. It's important for you to start understanding the family dynamics that you grew up in. So much of toxic spirituality comes from bypassing negative experiences. The reality is that God already knows everything we've been through, and he knows everything that we're holding on to. We're the ones that are afraid of bringing it to the light, and we're the ones that are afraid of facing our darkness, right? So if you grew up in a family where there was addiction, whether it was TV or food or alcohol or drugs, you carry that. So you have to look at it within you. Not my family had it, I now have it. It was their problem then, it's my problem now. And in order to close the gene, it's not enough to just ask a higher power. You have to go and do the inner work, right? And the inner work is addressing the archetypes and the emotions that create the epigenetics, or the environment basically, that allow those genes to stay open. It's the same thing if you grew up in a narcissistic family. That narcissism is yours now, right? And no matter how it shows up, whether it's coercive or whether it's like you or whether it's you swinging complete to the other side and being completely passive and making no decisions and being like, these inherited patterns are for real. And I think we're being very much called to address them. If it was an emotionally mature family, right, and now you can't stop shouting at your kids or at your partner, if it was a codependent family, if it was that you grew up in a war zone, whatever it is, whatever was theirs is ours now. And there's this grace period, I think, between 20 and 40 for us to work that out, so that we don't basically live through another generation of inherited trauma. And teeth, because they're bones, right? They're normally very connected to the ancestral conditioning and the ancestral patterns. Okay, let's have a look as well. Give me 1 second. Just recording from the phone as well. And I am not good at this yet. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. So all I have to do is press record and off we go. Okay. Well, maybe not. Okay, guys, bless my technology here so that we can, there we go, we're off. Okay, so hi Sky, can I get a reading on my health? Okay, let me have a look, Sachin. Okay, so when I'm looking at your body, your endocrine system, particularly your nervous system and your adrenal glands, it's like an energy of burnout. So it's like the remineralization, the shellac, um, the fulvic minerals, and combined with like daily like once or twice a day, revitaminizing the body, green juices, rhodelia for like adaptogenic herbs and better sleep, right? I'm really feeling like this energy of exhaustion, and the core wound is lack of validation. So this is like an invisible child wound, and this feeling unworthy of recognition. And nobody can work without recognition, without burning out. People need validation, people need recognition, people need, in fact, it's often more motivating than the money that we get. People will leave high paying jobs because they're not receiving enough validation and appreciation, and they don't feel seen, right? So if you grew up without that, you may have this belief that you have to live without that, and it's not true. But it's often what causes disruptions in the endocrine system, in the address, also what often causes issues with the capacity to recover, because any like people that suffer with burnout often suffer with perfectionism and self-sabotage, because they had parents that both asked them to be perfect, but then conversely also sabotaged their success journey because they were jealous, or because they were too controlling, or because they were afraid that they would lose their child if they took flight. So it was this, the pattern normally around burnout is be successful, but not more successful than me. Like be the perfect kind of successful, right? Which is just not too successful to make anybody jealous, but just successful enough to kind of validate your parents and validate your friends. And it's an exhausting people pleasing line to walk. So we're just going to call in the angels to do an instant healing for you on that one. Anybody else that needs this, just say yes. And then off we go. Okay. Right. 1 second. And then we do it again. Okay. Practicing, guys. I'm getting better with this tech thing. Maybe not. Okay, let's try again. 1 and 3 and done. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So next one is, hi Sky, please can you help me? I want to start making money. I want to provide for myself. I want an income stream that feels good for me, but I just feel so stuck and lost. Any insights? So when I'm tuning into you, my darling, right? What I'm feeling is this belief that things should just happen. And when it comes to success, there's a certain level of divine right action that's required, right? And because you're stuck in the freeze out of fight, flight, freeze, and trauma, I can feel that you know what you have to do, but you're stuck in the freeze response. So you're not taking any action. You're hiding. It's almost like your heart is like, so what you want to ask yourself is, who were you so afraid of that you had to go into the freeze response for, right? Who could you not escape? When you're a child, particularly if your parents are heavily into education, or into you being good to make them look good, right? Instead of figuring out who you are and seeing and hearing and understanding and connecting with you, what comes up is that we tend to freeze ourselves, our desires, our wants, our needs, and we tend to freeze our emotions because those emotions were shamed. You were like, stop behaving like this, go to your room. Why are you crying because you have to go to school? Why are you upset that you got bullied? Why are you so sensitive? Um, why are you being so difficult? And then we freeze because when we cried in response to those statements from our parents, we got even more abuse, whether that was isolation, being sent to your room, or whether that was actual, spanking, or whether that was screaming, whatever it was. We got the message that our feelings weren't safe and that freezing our feelings was the way to go, basically. And that keeps us really deeply stuck, right? That keeps us really deeply stuck when we're trying to move forward, because that was our survival mechanism in childhood, right? In adulthood, to make money, you have to be visible. To be visible, you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. You have to feel that feeling in your gut and go, and it goes, oh my God, what if I fail? What if I get stuck? What if I can't do it? And you go, what if I fly? What if I succeed? What if I can do this? But I kid you not, I used to have panic attacks when it comes to speaking in public. When I first went to London, I could not get on the underground by myself. My boyfriend had to get me from the train station because I suffered from such severe freeze and anxiety. I couldn't even choose what I wanted on the menu. So I hope that helps. Okay, so we're going to send in your Archangel Michael to help you with this, but this is like a proper healing. You're going to have to go, whether it's with theta or medical intuitive technique or whatever it is, you're going to have to go in. There we go. Okay, there we go. I can feel that kind of starting to clear. So let's say you're inside those situations as a child, right? Um, if you have a parent that is emotionally mature and you are crying or having a meltdown, they will come down to eye level. They will tell you that it's okay and to breathe and that they're right there with you. And that they're right there with you and they're not going to leave your side until you're ready to talk, right? And that it's hard, they're going to give you a voice. So they're going to tell you what feeling it is. It's hard feeling disappointment, or it's hard feeling angry, or it's hard being lonely, or it's hard when mommy and daddy have to go to work and you have to go to school. But what they're going to do is validate your feelings and then give you the courage to face the challenge, whether that challenge is emotional or physical or spiritual, right? And that is now your responsibility when it comes to your inner child, to reparent that inner child, to give her a voice, to reparent her, to so that you can create emotional maturity where right now you're stuck in freeze because you weren't given that space as a kid to navigate the tough feelings and you weren't shown how. And particularly if parents do it on the inside, you don't learn it, right? You just don't know how to do it. You're just supposed to blag your way through, and it just doesn't work. So I'm going to call on Archangel Gabriel because she really helps with being more visible or in public. But if, like, I kid you not, if you were to show up and do what's it called, 3 lives today on your social media page and talk about who you are, the qualifications you have, how you help people, what your products are and what they charge, you will have clients by the end of the week. The issue is that people don't show up at all, and and especially after COVID, with people stopping going to events and talking, and it blocked the flow, right? It blocked the flow. So let's just open up the flow again so that it's safe for you to receive in this way. Okay. Just going to do it again. More round. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, so Beata's saying, I would love a message from my angel sky. Any guidance would be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, let me do a quick scan. Okay, so what I can see when I'm tuning into your guardian angels showing me like dual beliefs going on. You have one belief that's like fiercely independent and really wanting to do everything by yourself. And then you have the other belief or the other part of you that's really grieving and doesn't want to be strong anymore and doesn't want to have to do everything by itself. And it's almost like there's huge inner conflict between the two. So can you give me permission to just ask your angels to resolve the inner conflict between the dual beliefs and to show to you that there is no conflict? You have a right to do things by yourself when you need to, right? Whether that's to learn a new skill like self-reliance or to challenge yourself to go to the next level. And you have the right to grieve, right? You have the right to grieve the childhood you never got to have. You have the right to grieve the disappointment that you feel that your parents and friends or mentors weren't the people you thought they were going to be. You have the right to both. They're not in conflict. Ooh, there we go. One does not deny the other. You being a strong and powerful person doesn't invalidate everything you went through, every loss that you experienced, doesn't make any of it okay. What you went through wasn't okay, but it also wasn't your fault. So you don't deserve to carry that forever, right? There comes a point where we have to put down the burden of other people's imperfections, the burden of our fallibility of human beings. That's what mercy is. So can we just bring in the virtue of mercy to help with that, please? Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Gonna stop that there. And again. Okay, I'm starting to get this now, guys. It's starting to speed up here. Okay. Hira saying, what's the message for me this week? Okay, let's tune into Hira and see what the angels have to say. Okay, so first I'm seeing your guardian angels surrounding you, and they're actually saying, congratulations, you've been making changes, right? They're showing me you've been making changes to your diet, you've been making changes to your environment, and there's definitely a strong shift in frequency. So they really want to say, like they see you, they're proud of you, they're grateful for the changes that you're making because it's helping other people. They're showing me a bit of a blocked solar plexus chakra. So there's like a fear of your own power coming up here. This energy of I'm gonna grow, but I'm gonna grow, but I don't want to leave anybody behind. So this is like a grieving wound. So we're gonna call an Archangel Azrael, who's the angel of grief, to help you process the grief that you have at the people that you might have to leave behind as you grow, as you up level, as you heal. Okay. Oh, I think there's some kind of emotional abuse going on in your environment here because I feel like there's been a lot of fights. I'm not sure recently or in the past that have completely shut down your solar plexus, and it's this energy of it's just easier to placate, it's just easier to go along with. So can we release those fights, please, whether past or recent? I'm just going to call on Archangel Michael to protect you and just suck out all of this shame that was vomited on you, screamed at you. And the angels are saying so strong, like, you are still worthy of your good. You are still worthy of your good. So you don't shut down the good that they have coming to you, the career opportunities, etc., because of guilt that you might leave this toxic situation if you rise. There we go. Ooh, that's looking a lot better. Okay. Getting there, guys. Okay. Norhan is saying, good morning, Sky. Any angel readings on why I always feel betrayed? Lastly, can I get an angel reading? Yes, you can get an angel reading today, Norhan. Okay, let me have a look. So they're immediately taking me to your family constellation, and they're showing me that this is this is a twofold. So this is a soul wound and this is a family wound. And I'm just checking because it's both ancestral genetic and from your soul, which is why you chose this family. So it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, it is like, it's PTSD. So there's a lot of research that shows that betrayal trauma is such a deep trauma that we get PTSD. And so the first thing that you want to do is create an anchor, and the anchor is your values. Okay. Your values are what you use to check in each individual situation whether or not you are overreacting or you're reacting in proportion to the person that you desire to be, right? So let's say you feel that someone's betrayed you. You want to run the things that they did or what happened past your values, right? Does this match my values? And then for them, and does this match my values for me? Right? And if the answer is yes, then it's the old trauma getting triggered. And if the answer is no, then it requires a protective response in this environment, right? Whether that's distancing yourself or ending the relationship, that's going to give you a bit more control. Betrayal trauma is there to teach redemption, atonement, and mercy. So betrayal is obviously a break of the law of trust, right? And trust is like an ultimate law of the universe. The only way to repair the betrayal wound is through the virtues of atonement. So atonement is, to simplify it, like the law of atonement, it's the behavior is the only true apology, right? That's the law of atonement. And mercy is, I suppose, like there's compassion, and then mercy is the higher vibrating sister. Mercy is this connection to common humanity. It's this deep understanding, as opposed to lip service or like forgiveness to destroy or like compassion to destroy or spiritual superiority, where you are able to, like, when people say there's nothing to forgive because they have done something not as similar, but they've been there, they've made the same mistake, they know how painful it is for both parties, so they're not on any level trying to get revenge. So let's ask the angels for healing on that for you, on your soul and on your family line too, and on you close the gene as well. Thank you, God. Okay. Oh, it's quite a few of you that have that one. So sometimes your soul will choose a family because you have that as something that you've been unable to heal. Now, if you look at most of the stories, right, whether it was Jesus, whether it's Martin Luther King, whether it's Buddha, they all have deep betrayal wounds, right? Their tests are all around betrayal. And because, like, what you're being asked is, are you in service to love? Are you in service to the ultimate truth, even when it's hard? Even when the person doesn't deserve it via the law of karma? Are you in service to the law of truth, to the law of grace? Or are you in service to the law of karma? Are you choosing 5D, 6D, 7D, or are you choosing 3D, which is like the law of karma versus the law of grace, atonement, redemption, mercy, which is like 5D, 7D concepts. And the way that it works is that you start to understand that to teach is to demonstrate. No amount of revenge, abuse, screaming at somebody teaches them how to be a better human being. It's a lot more work than that. It's a lot more work than that. Virtues are not mastered overnight. It takes practice, it takes dedication, it takes choices, right? It takes change. And this is where the law of gestation comes in. Just like it takes 9 months for an embryo to become a baby, so it takes time for transformation to embody and to become embodied. And the time is the practice, right? The time is the habits. And that's why there's such a focus in the collective consciousness of humanity right now around habits and habit formation. Okay. Okay. Around. Okay. Okay. So Sarah saying, hello, beautiful sky. Would it be possible to have a scan on my throat and third eye chakra? Thank you. Yep. Okay, so I'm coming in and your guardian angels are showing me the third eye chakra is almost like completely blocked. It's almost like there's a rock over this part of it. And the throat is like there's tears stuck in the bottom half of your throat. They're also showing me coffee, which is like, I'm not sure if you're taking some kind of caffeine or if it actually is coffee consumption, but it's like forcing the adrenal glands to keep going. Um, the core belief that we're working on is a misunderstanding when it's like, I will never be understood. Nobody is really going to be able to get me the way that I am. I'm too different to belong. I'm too different to be loved. And this is one of the core wounds for a reason, because all of us are unique and all of us are the same. Life is a paradox, right? And that's the word the angels are like kind of showing me. Life is like a paradox. So this is why Brené Brown talks about being really aware of anything that challenges our shared humanity. The belief that we're too different to be loved will also stop us from loving people that are different from us, right? So can we just pull out that belief? Oh, and change it to the truth that everybody feels this. Everybody feels so different to be loved. And everybody feels too normal to be special, right? These are paradoxes. And that the most important person for you to start communicating your feelings with is yourself. So I kid you not, right? When I tell you that most people are misunderstood by the people outside them because it's a mirror of what's going on inside. And I really, really struggled with this because I didn't have it modeled growing up, and I didn't understand the worth of it. It just felt like, like when you first start doing affirmations and you feel completely dumb and you feel like it's like the silliest thing ever and it's never going to work. And then it works and you're like, my God, what happened? It's the same thing. So when you start talking to yourself, journaling to yourself, voicing your feelings on a daily basis, you then find other people much more able to understand you. But when you are refusing to be with yourself, refusing to listen to yourself, refusing to understand yourself, then that is what other people mirror to you, right? It's always comes back to the inner work, right? They're taking me further down to your solar plexus chakra, right? So they're showing me, yep, the third eye and the throat are blocked because you're afraid of your power. You're afraid of being more powerful than these people. You're afraid of hurting people with your power, right? And I think because of childhood experiences, you're um, confusing emotional abuse with power, but that's not power. Emotional abuse is an expression of powerlessness. There we go. It's starting to move now. Okay. Okay, Sari is saying, one second. Let me just record this one too. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay, so Sari's saying, hi Sky, what do I do to heal my Burchard nodes? The middle joints of my fingers are enlarged and it makes it difficult for me to wear rings. So they're showing me like immediately they're showing me like inflammation. So I would start with the liver herbs, because if there's inflammation in the body, the liver's working slowly and it's not able to get rid of the cortisol and the adrenaline and the stress hormones fast enough, and not able to get your immune system to the ears fast enough. So I would start with things like milk thistle, dandelion root. Hands are one of the only chakras that are directly connected to the heart chakra. So not being loved, feeling unlovable, and part this manifesting is not being able to go for your dreams. The hands are like reaching for your dreams, reaching for what you truly want. They're showing me like a trauma around having like your hand slapped when you asked for what you really want and when you went for what you really wanted. There we go. Okay, that's starting to move. Okay, and then they're showing me castor oil packs. So they really want you to put like castor oil packs, or literally even put your hand inside castor oil. Castor oil is like the master herb for breaking things down. So cysts or bones, or if you want something moved, castor oil will move it. It's kind of like the mountain mover of herbs. And I'm getting Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael coming in really strongly here and showing me like an anointing on it. So can you give us permission to just put an anointing on some castor oil for you, and put this castor oil pack on your hands when you go to sleep, start dissolving the nodules. Okay, that's looking good. Saying, oops, I accidentally removed my question. You and me in the tech today. Asthma 3 saying, hi, Sky. Could you please scan my eyes and how to heal them? It feels dry, burn, and watery, especially the left one. Okay, so eyes are around things you don't want to see. Burning means you're angry, like you're really, really angry. And it's like you said, this uncried tears energy. Herbs like eyebright, the milk thistle and the dandelion we just discussed. I'm going to ask the Archangel Raphael to come in and do an instant healing on your eyes. But for this to be resolved, you're going to have to accept that you're allowed. You're allowed to have standards. You're allowed to have feelings. You're really stuck in this overgiving energy. Okay. Simone is saying, hi, lovely. I feel my relationship is really on edge right now. We hurt each other so badly and reached a place where there's almost like no coming back. Can you please do a reading / healing? Okay, let me tune in and call on the romance angels for you, darling. I'm so sorry. Oh, alarm. Okay, so the romance angels are saying to me that you need radical honesty here, because it's like this energy of there's a war going on inside you. Part of you wants to make it work, and part of you has given up. And the reality is that you've been unhappy for a very long time in this relationship, like really deeply unhappy. You cannot address the absence of desire with actions. So this is why therapy fails so often, because what therapy teaches is people how to go through the motions, right? Of behaving like they love each other, behaving like they respect each other, behaving like they're there for each other, without um, without being able to teach them the virtue, right? So it's like when you go on a date with a partner and everything's perfect, the flowers are perfect, the restaurant's perfect, but you just don't feel like the other person's there. There's like an anticlimax. You feel unmet and unseen, right? And it's the same in a partnership. It feels like and people will say that, I feel like I'm going through the motions, right? Because the actual love has gone. Now, the solution, if you want to heal the relationship, the only one that I know of is to ask God to create a new one with that person. So when the love is gone with that person, you can't get the old love back, but God can birth a new love for both of you if you allow yourself to fall in love with this person and who they are now, right? Because that's the biggest reason why relationships fail, is that we're still in love with the person we met and we have no idea who we're with now. Basically, we're not emotionally present, we're not emotionally available, right? Ooh, I can feel that one going in. So if that's what you feel is the right thing, you need to like become emotionally present. If I were you, like I would sit and I would cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry until it's all out, right? It will take you about 3 hours to face your abandonment trauma or to face your being misunderstood trauma, maybe 6 hours, maybe a whole night. The Bible typically says like a whole night, to process like deep grief and loss, but then you will be emotionally present. And from this place, you have a chance of actually creating real connection, because then you're no longer addicted to the anger, addicted to the conflict, addicted to fixing, addicted to controlling. You're just actually no longer energetically available for any of those things. And your partner can feel that. And it's an opportunity for a miracle, because you're no longer energetically playing games that you don't understand because of past trauma. And they're no longer having to navigate you in unconscious attack mode. Because when we feel, this is like basic Course in Miracles, when we feel that our needs are not getting met, we are taught as human beings to attack the other person. And that's often the ego will set the other person up and then kick them when they're down, to the extent that it will literally be like, I'm going to give them this test to see if they pass or fail. And if they fail, then I'm going to judge them. Then I'm going to leave them. Then I'm going to scream at them. Then I'm going to, but it's like, I can't justify doing that unless they make a mistake. So I'm going to choose a situation that justifies that behavior, right? Whereas when you evolve high enough spiritually, you're just not available for that. I really went through that about what, 3-4 months ago. Be prepared when you do that for people to fall out of your life, because your vibration shifts so dramatically, because you are no longer available for your addiction to anger, addiction to drama, addiction to whatever. So the people that are still in that vibration just are no longer a vibrational match, period. But you are then available for not just a different quality of life, but a different kind of health, a different kind of love, right? Because you're then no longer pulling in people who are still addicted to their anger, addicted to their anxiety, addicted to their depression, making it like, excuses for not facing their own pain and projecting it outwards. But that is the biggest message in most relationships, is that if you do not face your pain, then your pain will get projected onto other people. And when there's two people doing it at the same time, relationships don't survive that. Love does not survive that. So if you want to heal the relationship, you need to ask for a completely new love to be born, and for you to become emotionally present, right? To release all the pain and become emotionally present. Why do I say that? Is because the sanest person goes first, right? That's the rule in the Course in Miracles. The most sane person goes first. It's not about you being more to blame or anything like that. It's just the person who's the most connected to God fastest, that's the person that normally goes first, right? If, however, you feel like you've learned everything you need to learn and that you're just too hurt, I'd still recommend doing the emotional presence, like really letting yourself grieve. And then do a forgiveness to release exercise and trust that it's the best for everybody. Relationships only serve when there's love being given and received. When that's no longer happening, you're just hurting each other. There's no point, right? So there's absolutely no point paying lip service to change. You're either ready to grow into the emotionally present level of yourself or you're not, and there's no shame in that. It's just about honesty, like radical honesty about where you're at on your spiritual journey, um, and what it's going to take for you to get there, and whether or not this is worth it, right? Also, whether or not you think the other person can. But this is the crazy thing about manifestation. When you want something, it's like if you let it go, if you do what you think you want the other person to do, right? Suddenly everything shifts and everything changes. Monica saying, yes, I do feel like I have to get away from my family to get better because of these patterns and addictions. Boom. You see what I mean? God knows what he's doing. If if you're being guided to go abroad, there are reasons far beyond you can't find the person in this country. There are people you're supposed to meet. There's divine interventions that are supposed to happen. There's growth that needs to occur. There's something about physically being in a new environment that brings out new aspects of us, of our consciousness, of our psyche, of our well-being. Okay, Storm is saying, hi, Sky. Please ask my angels if my relationship is beyond repair and what I need the most to grow. Thank you. Okay, I'm checking with Archangel Shamuel and Archangel Michael. Okay, Storm. So, no, I'm not getting that your relationship is beyond repair. I am getting very strongly that you need to work on patterns of like coercive control. This is like adult children of narcissist mothers scenario. You don't recognize manipulation, which makes you very easy to manipulate, right? And you like that's not good. So that's what Archangel Michael's saying. You need to protect yourself. Um, you need to protect yourself. But I'm not getting that the relationship is over. I'm getting this is like a level up. But I'm very much getting that the pattern here is about not recognizing coercive control. Look, let's give you a simple example of coercive control. Coercive control is saying, I'm going to do this project and then not doing it. It's and then being really nice about it and going, oh, but this happened and this happened and this happened, and then still not doing it, right? It's when somebody says that they're going through the dishes and they don't. It's when your mom says she's going to drive you to the competition and she doesn't. It's when someone tells you you can go and hang out with your friends and then last minute they tell you they can't babysit. It's these subtle things that are very easy to gaslight because you would never do that to somebody, right? You would never sabotage them, but there are many people that do and that would. So you don't recognize it. You're like, oh no, maybe they really did have this emergency, or maybe they really couldn't get it done, or but you will notice it's coercive control simply by the fact that it is a pattern that keeps repeating. Right? It's like a habit that it's not in the person's control either. They don't mean to control. It's a childhood wound, right? But at the end of the day, it's still a very high price, right? And there's a very strong feeling, Storm, when I'm tuning into if you're being controlled. So I'm not seeing that has to end the relationship. I'm seeing that the relationship will change, right? The relationship will change if you work deep in this area, because it's a mirror of a childhood wound that's not been addressed. Hi, Sky. I'd like to know more about my love situation. I've been doing healing and calling in my divine life partner. Somebody showed up. I don't know if he's the person. Can you please tune in? So before I even like go deep into the tune, I'm already getting a no. And they're showing me that you're manifesting without understanding what you need. There's a higher level of spiritual education required here. You're manifesting based, please, please, please don't hate me, but you're manifesting based on lust and you're manifesting based on superficial criteria. For example, he has to look like this, he has to be kind, he has to be like spiritual, he has to be um like it's this list that has no real understanding of what love practically takes, right? The providing, the protecting, the deeply meeting, the emotional maturity, the stage in life, right? The self responsibility, and there's a real fear in you still of adult men. There's a real, like, right now it's pulling in little boy energy, and for a lifetime long term partner you need adult grown man energy. You need, and then I'm not sure if it's because there's some sort of imbalance they're showing me around you feeling like you can't earn, or you being financially controlled in some way, that's making you avoid men that are ready to provide, they're ready to protect, they're ready to nurture. Okay, so I'm going to ask Archangel Shamuel for an instant healing and to upgrade your manifestations. Okay. Love Sunshine saying, hi, strong, good to agree so strongly with the importance of recognition. Yeah, there's only so long you can go before it burns you out. When you're little and you get told not to boast or not to be arrogant, most little boys and little girls then stop seeking validation, and they often reject compliments, and they reject praise, and they reject validation, and this creates a void so deep of loneliness that it's so hard to fill. So if you were a person that literally struggles to take a compliment, you need to make like a hypnosis track or a meditation track that just pours validation, recognition, praise into your body, right? Because it's not the same thing. Being arrogant and being confident are not the same thing, right? Receiving praise from somebody and being controlled by somebody is you are only available for that. It's only possible if you have a validation wound, right? If somebody gives you praise and then tries to use it to control you, which is coercive control, right? And you are healed, you can see it a mile off, and even if it's hurtful or disappointing, you can see it, right? You're not easy prey. So 100% validation is a huge deal. Bruna's saying, can you see if I'm going to be able to move to a new home this year? I don't know if I can go back to where I lived or enjoyed, in search of a different place. I'm my best when I'm closer to nature. I see the move happening. I can actually see like the fairies around you, helping you find a home that's more cocooned by nature, and it's symbolic of you returning to your true nature. You can very much find the home that you're looking for this year. Um, yeah, I would just literally, I think the issue is that you still got cords to your old place. So this is the part where you cut cords to the old place, where you bless the old place. Um, Seb saying, hi, Sky, just popped in to say hello and thank you for you. You're welcome, beautiful. Gabriella, hi, Sky. I recently find myself punishing energy inside of me and beliefs around needing to punish myself. There's self-hatred there too. Can you help me start shifting this and getting any insights? Thank you so much in advance. I'm going to call in the parenting angels. Angel Zadkiel, who's like king of the angels. And we're just going to start shifting all of this intergenerational belief that punishment creates correction, that punishment makes us good people, that we need to be punished to be good. Right? The punishment teaches us things. And bringing in the truth, right? That we need love to be good people, that we need teaching, right? Demonstrations of compassion, demonstrations of empathy, demonstrations of discipline, demonstrations of courage, demonstrations of um, clarity and conflict negotiations, demonstrations, not punishment, whether we're adults or children. But this is like enmeshment they're showing me. So let's just separate your energy from your parents' energy, from your family's energy, because this is like when you're a little kid and you are like, you think you're one with your parents because you haven't really separated out yet. Let's just pull the energy out because it's there, it's old conditioning that's just not true. There we go. Okay. I am going to do our closing prayer and I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy Monday. O great Spirit, Father, Sky, Mother, Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good, good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that